Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're going bigger than ever before. Forget cars, forget money, forget everything you thought you knew about heists. We're talking about the most valuable, most iconic, and most unbelievable things ever stolen. Let's get started. Okay, let's kick things off with a classic, the Mona Lisa. You know that lady with the mysterious smile? Yeah, she was chilling in the Louvre Museum in Paris back in 1911 when, poof, she vanished. The thief, a dude named Vincenzo Peruggia, used to work at the Louvre. He knew the layout, he knew the security, and he knew that on Mondays the Mona Lisa was basically unguarded. So he just strolled in, snatched the painting, hid it under his coat, and walked right out. For 2 years, the Mona Lisa was gone. Then, out of the blue, Peruggia contacts an art dealer in Italy trying to sell the painting. The Mona Lisa was returned to the Louvre, more famous than ever, and now she's got a security detail that could rival Fort Knox. Alright, next up we've got another art heist for you, but this one's even crazier than the Mona Lisa. We're talking about Edvard Munch's masterpiece, The Scream. This painting became infamous in 1994 when thieves broke into the National Gallery in Oslo, Norway, and swiped it right off the wall. They even left a note for the police, taunting them with the message, "Thanks for the poor security." The police set up a sting operation, caught the thieves, and recovered the painting just a few months later. Fast forward to 2004 and The Scream gets stolen again. This time it was from the Munch Museum, also in Oslo. These thieves stormed the museum in broad daylight, threatened the guards with guns, and made off with The Scream and another Munch masterpiece, Madonna. It took 2 years for the police to track down the paintings, which were found thankfully undamaged. The thieves, a group of notorious art robbers, were arrested and put behind bars. Now, this next heist is shrouded in mystery. We're talking about the Amber Room, a literal room made of amber, fossilized tree resin for all you non-geology nerds out there. This room was a gift from the King of Prussia to the Tsar of Russia back in the 1700s, and it was decked out with gold, jewels, mirrors, the whole 9 yards. During World War II, the Amber Room was in a palace in what's now Russia. When the Nazis invaded, they dismantled the room, packed it up and shipped it back to Germany. And that's where the trail goes cold. Some say it was destroyed in Allied bombings. Others believe it was hidden away in a secret location. Treasure hunters have been searching for the Amber Room for decades, but it's like it vanished into thin air. You might be thinking, okay, stealing paintings and jewels is one thing, but stealing an entire building, that's next level. Well, get ready to have your mind blown because it actually happened. Kind of. Now, we're not talking about someone physically picking up the Empire State Building and walking off with it. No. This heist was all about paperwork, loopholes, and a whole lot of audacity. In 1961, 2 guys named Victor Lustig and Dan Collins pulled off one of the most audacious scams in history. They created a fake deed to the Empire State Building, making it look like they were the rightful owners. Then, they found a wealthy investor and convinced him that they were selling the building at a steal of a deal. The investor, completely taken in by their con, handed over a hefty sum of money, thinking he'd just scored the deal of a lifetime. Lustig and Collins skipped town with the money, leaving the poor investor high and dry. They eventually got caught, but their audacious con remains one of the most legendary heists of all time. Okay, we've talked about paintings, sculptures, even buildings, but what about something truly fit for a king, or in this case a queen? We're talking about the crown jewels of England. These aren't just some sparkly trinkets. We're talking about crowns, scepters, orbs and jewels that have been passed down through generations of British monarchs. But back in 1671, a daring thief named Colonel Blood almost pulled off the unthinkable, stealing the crown jewels. Blood was a smooth talker and a master of disguise. He actually befriended the keeper of the jewels, a guy named Talbot Edwards, and even convinced Edwards to let him bring his nephew to see the jewels. Of course, the nephew was actually one of Blood's accomplices, and they weren't there for a friendly visit. They overpowered Edwards, stashed the crown jewels in their clothes, and made a run for it. They almost got away with it, but they were spotted by Edward's son, who raised the alarm. Now, this next heist involves an instrument so valuable, so rare, it's practically a legend. We're talking about the Davidoff Marini Stradivarius, a violin crafted by the master himself, Antonio Stradivari, back in the 1700s. In 1995, the violin, worth an estimated $3 million at the time, was stolen from the apartment of violinist Erica Marini in New York City. The thieves were never caught, and the violin has never been recovered. Some say it was stolen by professional art thieves. Others believe it was an inside job. The mystery of the Davidoff Marini Stradivarius continues to captivate the world. All right, get ready for a heist that feels like it's straight out of a movie. We're talking about the Great Train Robbery of 1963, a daring raid that captivated all of England. Picture this: a foggy night in Buckinghamshire, England. A Royal Mail train is speeding through the countryside, carrying bags of cash, over £2.6 million to be exact, which is a fortune, especially back then. A gang of 15 robbers, led by a mastermind known as the Ulsterman, had a plan. They tampered with the signals, forcing the train to stop at a secluded spot. Then they stormed the train, overpowered the crew, and made off with the loot. The robbers became folk heroes overnight, their daring feats splashed across newspaper headlines. But the long arm of the law eventually caught up with them. This next heist is one of the biggest art heists in history, and it remains unsolved to this day. We're talking about the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist in Boston, Massachusetts, back in 1990. On a cold March night, two thieves disguised as police officers pulled off the unthinkable. They convinced the museum guards to let them in, claiming they were responding to a disturbance. Once inside, they overpowered the guards, tied them up, and spent the next 81 minutes looting the museum. They made off with 13 works of art, including masterpieces by Rembrandt, Vermeer, Degas, and Manet. The FBI has been investigating the case for decades, following countless leads and theories, but the art has never been recovered. Now, this next heist had it all: diamond speedboats, a daring escape plan, and a plot twist you wouldn't believe. We're talking about the Millennium Dome heist, a foiled robbery that could have been the biggest diamond heist in history. In the year 2000, London was buzzing with excitement over the Millennium Dome, a giant exhibition space built to celebrate the new millennium. Inside the dome, a vault held a dazzling collection of diamonds worth an estimated £350 million. A group of thieves, led by a career criminal known as One Eye, had their eyes on the prize. Their plan was as bold as it gets: ram a JCB digger into the dome, grab the diamonds, and escape by speedboat on the River Thames. They almost pulled it off. They crashed through the dome's security barriers and were just moments away from the vault when the police showed up. Turns out the police had been onto them from the start. We're ending our list with a heist that's less about brute force and more about sheer audacity. We're talking about the Eiffel Tower, that iconic symbol of Paris, and how it was sold not once but twice. The mastermind behind this incredible con was a man named Victor Lustig, the same guy who sold the Empire State Building. In the 1920s, the Eiffel Tower was in need of some costly repairs. Lustig, posing as a government official, approached several scrap metal dealers with a proposition they couldn't refuse: buy the Eiffel Tower for scrap metal. One dealer, André Poisson, fell for the con hook, line and sinker. Lustig pulled off the same con again a few years later, this time escaping to Austria with a suitcase full of cash. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more amazing content. Comment below which theft you found the most unbelievable. From stolen masterpieces to elaborate cons, these heists remind us that truth can be stranger than fiction. Stay tuned for our next video where we uncover more incredible stories from around the world.